So thank you for joining us for the Multifamily Pool Delivery Module Training. Multifamily Pool Delivery Module, also known as MFPDM, is, as I mentioned, a shining star of the MyGinnieMae portal. And as we roll out the portal, we're excited to be able to provide you access to this tool. And to tell us a little bit more about the tool and to provide us a proper introduction, I am very happy to introduce one of GinnieMae's shining stars, Michelle Murphy.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the MFPDM, again, the Multifamily Pool Delivery Module System Training. And I too hope that all is well with everyone. So, I really would like to also thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule today as we review MFPDM, or how we say it in layman's terms, the new GinnieNet. But I really want to focus that the MFPDM system is our primary system for all new pools. However, if you have existing construction loans, now those pools, along with its corresponding conversions, those will still be processed in GinnieNet. Now, I know some people on this call that you've actually attended, I have quotation marks going, attended MFPDM training before. And what we've done is we've taken some of the feedback from prior trainings and we've updated this training just slightly. After saying all of that, I really want to make sure that you understand that any and all questions, any and all clarifications, they are always welcomed, and the IT team will tell you how to raise your hand or send out questions. And I will be on this call, and also my colleagues, Ms. Jennifer Burke, she can't speak, you can't hear her, and Patrick Durant, they're also on this call, and I definitely send welcomes from our director, Philip Buckley. He's actually away from the office this week. So I hope that everyone can settle in and focus and review this MFPDM system. We've put in a lot of work into this system. We're continually working on this system. If you were a pilot issuer, you've probably seen some updates from now, and we continue to welcome any and all feedback on this system. And I know I'm going to turn it over to Tauheed, but I know that the CXG team would like me to say, again, this is the primary system. This is the new system. This is the system that you should be using. No new pools should be going into the GinnieNet system. So after I said all that, again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, is it on me to actually introduce Tauheed Ali?
I think Tauheed's got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And then welcome. My name is Tauheed Ali. I'm from the Bank of New York Mellon. And today I will share my screen with you folks and kind of show you how to navigate through MyGinnieMae and also the MFPDM system. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so starting off, we'll open up our favorite browser and enter our MyGinnieMae link. Just note that for today's demonstration purposes, we are using the UAT environment. This is a test environment that we use for demonstrations. And also note that there are times it is a little slower than the production version. So it's just a heads up. So I'll go ahead and enter our MyGinnieMae link and land on the page. And then we'll go ahead and click log in. Now your username will be your organization email that you use to register your account, and the password. So I'll go ahead and enter mine. And my password. Okay, and once we click login, we're prompted to enter our one-time PIN or OTP. Here we have option to receive our OTP two different ways. First is through the email that you just signed in with, or we have something called the Oracle Mobile Authenticator, and this allows us to retrieve our one-time PIN through our mobile or any smart devices. So I have my account registered with OMA, so I'll go ahead and click that and click OK. And enter my one-time PIN. And if authenticated successfully, it will take me to the MyGinnieMae portal. So here we land on the portal, and you can see I'm on my dashboard. We also have the Pools and Loans tab as well as Maintenance. So let's focus on my dashboard a little bit first. Initially, if this is your first time logging in, just note that you will have to click under your name on the top right corner and select your organization ID number. So for our case, this is a demonstration issuer. So for you, you'll select your organization. And once you select, the page will refresh and give you all the detail on the page based on the access you got from your org admin. So to start off with, you can see we have a carousel here with all the latest updated information that's there for you to view. Any kind of other notifications for changes coming up or anything that has been changed will be shown here. Going below, you can see these colorful circles. These are called Skittles. And here it gives you the different statuses on the pool that you have in your system. So we have a all multifamily pool or all MF pool. We have account. And then you see we have draft status, submitted for final certifications, final certified, and issued. So these are the different statuses with the number. And we also have tie pool. Here you can see this is also is known as the PIT pool. And one thing to note, when you see your total count for your all MF pools, tie pools are not included. And underneath each Skittles, you can see that the latest updated pool that you worked on for that status, it'll show with a date and time. So here we can see different pool statuses and pool numbers. And underneath that, we have another status bar where it gives us the last three or the latest updated details where you have ready for submissions. So these three pools, they're ready. If there were any errors on any pool, it'll show here. If any pools were rejected, it'll show under the rejected or the thumbs down icon section, as well as passed and pools that you have favored. And I'll get into that a little bit later when we go into the Pools and Loans tab. Underneath that, we have our inbox. Here you have your messages to view. When you're working on pools, you will receive notifications from the system. Say you're trying to submit a pool or recall it, or if you have got any errors during validation, those will be seen here, as well as notifications from your account executives will also be seen here as well. And we have a similar field. If we scroll all the way up to the top right, you'll see a envelope icon with a number of notifications. So those emails or notifications can also be seen here. And usually you see the latest ones. Going down next to it, you have options to write notes for yourself and save it in the system. And underneath, we have two widgets that you can see, one for commitment authority and one for pool numbers. These are to give you the statuses of how much commitment was used and how much is available. Same thing for the pool numbers. And to note, these data are being shared with the GMAP1 system. So all the data is being pulled from that. And if you're asking how do we access the legacy systems, say GMAP1 or GinnieMae, based on the author roles that you were given, if you go under Tools menu, you will see under Other Application or IPMS, we have GinnieMae. And if you want to access your GMAP1 applications, they're listed under IPMS. So you want to go to GinnieMae, just go ahead and click on the link, and you're taken single signed on to that system. And same thing goes for GMAP1. So let's say I want to look at my commitment. I can go ahead, click CM, and land on GMAP1. Okay, so that's a quick overview of my dashboard. I'll now go ahead and talk about the maintenance screen a little bit. So on this page, you can see we have 4 sections: the Annex Special Disclosure, the Non-Level Payment Provision, the subscribers, as well as the Document Custodian detail. Here we can go ahead and add details or remove them. So under Annex Special Disclosure, I have a Add button, which I can add the identifier and the description. And I also have the ability to delete any previous ones that I've created. Same thing goes for the non-level payment provisions. You can enter your identifier and your description here. Going to the subscribers, you can enter the ADA number as well as the delivery instructions. And we have our document custodian information, which is also being pulled from GMAP1. Here you have the document custodian number and their details, and you are able to edit their address fields and their zip code. And the dates will be pulled from GMAP1. So that's a quick overview. If you do decide to add any details or delete, you can add the information and save it. So that's a really quick overview of maintenance. I'll now go ahead and talk about the features in pools and loan tabs. This is where you guys will be spending most of your times. And kind of similar to what we saw on my dashboard, after you land on pools and loans, you'll see the same skittles that we saw earlier on my dash with the same different statuses and the numbers representing how many pools are in those status. Here you'll also be able to create or add pools. So if you go ahead and click on it, you see that you have the option to enter a pool manually, as well as importing using your flat file. And when you are importing, you have the option to override and validate the pools. Going down, we see a list of all the pools that we have in our system, and we have a list of options to filter these pools with. So you have some already listed out here that says ready for submission, passed, favorites, rejected, and certified. So if you go ahead and click on one, the system will filter based on what you're selecting. Next, we have a little edit field where you can enter a pool ID. To search for it, we want to just quickly reference and just go into the pool detail. you can go ahead and enter the pool ID here. Or if you really want to get specific, you have the advanced filter option where you can enter pool number, pool type, issue date, draw numbers, custodian number, business rules, pool status, and the tie pools, or the transfer at issuance pool. And you can mix and match based on what specific criteria you're looking for. Then going down, the favorite bar that I was talking about, you have the option to favorite your pools, which will always show on the top of the list. So that way you don't have to look for it all the time. You can just favorite and see it every time you log in on the top. And they are labeled with their pool number, pool type, issue date, draw number, if any, with the custodian signed for that pool. And we have business rule here with a little green check mark. That means that the pool passed the business rule validations and is ready for submission to the custodian. Then we have the status of the pools as well as your issuer ID. And another function feature that we have here is the little slide out bar next to a pool. And if you're to click on it from the pool and loan page, you do have the option to delete the pool, submit it to the custodian, have it validated and run against the business rules, as well as exporting it and generating documents. Now, in the documents or reports, as you guys know it, you have the option to generate the 11705, 706, 706 with the data. We also have the 1731, the 11711B report, the Annex Special Disclosure, Edit Report, and the non-level provision report. So that's a quick overview of pools and loan page. I'll now go ahead and hand it over to Jeff, who will talk about the pool details with you guys. Jeff?
Hi, folks. My name is Jeff Janowski. For the MFPDM project, I was a BA whenever it was originally released. So I should be able to walk you through everything that we need. But before we get started with that, I know Tauhid covered quite a bit of information, so I want to pause and take a second to see if there are any questions regarding whether it be the My Dashboard, the initial pools and loan screens, or the maintenance screen that he had reviewed. So if you want to, you can either enter a question in the Q&A section from the Zoom call, or if you do want to have a chat, you can go ahead and press *9 on your phone and address your questions that way. So I'll give it a few seconds here, see if we have any questions.
Yep, just to follow up with that, Jeff. If you're listening to us on your phone, *9. If you're listening to us through your PC on the Zoom, you can also raise your hand. That'll let us know. We can unmute your line. Yep. Type it into the Q&A, *9 if you're on the phone, raise your hand if you're in the Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, no come through. Good job, Tauhid.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, so I will continue on. If you guys do have questions, please, by all means, use the Q&A, use the chat, or raise your hand throughout the process, and we can review those questions as we go. For those of you that have joined in previous sessions, welcome back. And for those of you that are new to this, I hope this is very informative. And we can take a look. So to all panelists, I did get a message that just came in, so I'll address this one while we have it. What type of file should we be generating for the pool upload? The help page is down. This one is from Teresa Thompson. So it is a flat file that's generated. It will be the same file that you would have used for GinnieMae for the upload from that aspect. For an existing pool, you also do have the ability to export the existing pool data, as Tauhid is now showing on the screen. There is an export option, which it will export that pool in the appropriate format so that if you want to modify that pool and import it, you have the ability to do so. As Tauhid is showing here, there's the format for that particular pool. Thank you, Tauhid. Okay, hopefully I answered your question, Teresa. If you have any further follow-ups to that, please let me know. All right, with that being said, welcome everyone again. Once again, my name is Jeff Janofsky. I will be speaking through everything with my partner in crime here, Tauhid, walking through all of the screens and doing the data entry. So let's go ahead and get started. Tauhid did a nice overview of the pools and loan screens, but what we want to look at now is an example of a PN pool. So Tauhid has one here selected, so we can go ahead and click on the pool directly from here. And once I'll do one final reminder that this is the user acceptance testing environment, so it may be a little bit slower to react, or the data may be a little off here and there, but for the most part, we should be good to go. So if you notice any discrepancies, please let us know and we can address them as they arrive. So here we can see the pool details screen, obviously much different from GinnieMae. Here we've combined quite a few of the tabs located in GinnieMae and put it into what we consider the pool detail screen. From the very top, we can see in the blue bar, we have information that stays with us no matter which screen we are on for a particular pool, starting out with the pool number. The star next to it, as Tauhid pointed out, it indicates if a pool is listed as a favorite. And we also have the status of the pool, what status the pool is currently in. So the one that we are currently looking at is a draft pool. Moving on down, we can see the issue type, the issue date, the business rules, whether they have been passed, not yet run, or they have failed. So I will touch upon that a little bit more here whenever we go through some more of the details. The project number associated with the pool, should there be one. The next column over, we have the pool type. We have the pool amount below that, as well as the mortgage amount shown here. In the last column, we have the submission type, the security rate, the interest rate, along with the maturity date. So as you notice, going forward through other screens that we're going to take a look at, we'll look at loans as well. This blue bar stays with the pool no matter what screen you are viewing, so that you always have this information at your fingertips. Along with that information, we do have some options and selections above there where Tauhid has his cursor currently. So we have a more button, we have a validate for your business rules, we have a submission button should you want to submit it to your document custodian for certification. You have the ability to edit the pool by clicking on edit. As a quick rule, whenever you open a pool, it is locked for editing. So if you do want to edit it and it is capable of being edited, you would click on that edit button. And finally, on the right-hand side, there is a refresh button, which again, I will speak a little bit to a little bit later on. And Tauhid, can you go ahead and click on the more button real quick just to show folks what that one is? So depending on how many options are shown, how many actions are shown, there may be additional ones that don't necessarily fit on the screen. So we have additional options listed in the more. If you don't see something from the actions listed, click on the more button and you may have those additional items there. Here we can see we have the option to delete. We have the option to export, as well as view the documents for this particular pool. Moving on, we'll take a look at the contact cards. So on the left-hand contact card, still in the blue bar, we have the issuer. So we can see the issuer number and the issuer name of who owns this pool. We can see the date that the pool was created and who was the user who created the pool. Here we have Maribel Multifamily. As well as right next to that, we can see when the pool was last updated, and yet again, the user that last updated the pool. The middle contact card is for the document custodian associated with this pool. And finally, on the right, we have the GinnieMae account executive who is assigned to this account. So that covers the blue bar and everything on the top. So we will move down into the pool details section. As you can see, everything is broken out by headers. So we broke the information into sections to make it a little bit easier to process. Starting out with the header information, we have the pool number, the issue date, the issue type, the pool type, as well as the submission type. Obviously, these are the same pieces of information that are above in the blue bar, but some of this information does not carry over into loan details, so it is important to have it here. Please note that any of the fields that have an asterisk next to them are fields that are required whenever you initially submit a pool. I'll reiterate that point whenever we go to submit a new pool, but just wanted to point that out here if you were curious. Moving down to the general information section, we have the pool tax ID, the initial payment date, the delivery date, the unpaid balance date, as well as the amortization method, which in multifamily case is always listed as concurrent date. In the next little box, we have a section for the rates associated with this pool, including the security interest rate, the mortgage interest rate, as well as the servicing fee. Just note that the security interest rate is entered here on the pool detail screen. The mortgage interest rate is entered on the loan detail screen. So once that is entered on loan details, it will be populated on the pool details as well to indicate the mortgage interest rate both places. The servicing fee will be automatically calculated by the system and displayed. And finally on that line, we do have the maturity date entered. Continuing down is the master agreement section. We have the document custodian associated with this pool. As Tauhid showed you, that is also listed in the maintenance section. This information is pulled from MAM, so if you have an active agreement on file, they will be an option for your selection here. Next category is the subservicer number and name, should there be one associated with this pool, followed by the transfer at issuance section, yes or no, a radio button. As Tauhid had mentioned previously, this is the same as a PIT pool, but this is the updated language that is being used for multifamily pool delivery module. Continuing on the right, we have the P&I account, including the ABA federal routing number, as well as the account number. Moving again down the screen, we come to the escrow accounts. So any escrow account that may be associated with this particular pool, we once again have it broken out into the routing number as well as the account number. Into the next subheader, we have the subscriber information, the ABA number and deliver to information, a description should one be required or wanted there, as well as the position for that particular subscriber. If there are multiple subscribers, it will list each of the individual subscribers on the left, as well as the position is broken out by the individual subscriber, showing a total at the bottom there. Continuing down, we show the certification and agreement form. If you remember back to MyGinnieMae, this would have been a separate screen for you to take a look at. Here it is included in the pool details to hopefully make your lives a little bit easier from flipping from screen to screen. These are radio buttons to select, and once we get into the actual entry of data, we can go into a little bit more detail about how those particular functions work. And finally, on the bottom, we come to the pool statistics, including the total amounts, including P&I payment amount, UPB amount, the FHA totals. So we have a total quantity of one loan associated with this pool, and it is listed with the UPB amount below. The next section over, if this was a USDA RD loan, this would show a quantity there, as well as the UPB amount listed. Finally, we have the weighted average interest rate under the additional information section. So I'm going to take another brief pause and ask if anybody has questions on the pool detail screen. Once again, I will get into more detail once we do the data entry, but as far as the look that we've seen so far, does anybody have comments or questions regarding pool details? Please raise your hand or ask a question in the chat. And if you need to unmute yourself, you hit *9. Okay, I don't see anything coming in. Ian, you can let me know if you see something on your end, but as of right now, I think we can continue on.
Yeah, I think you're good to proceed.
Thanks, sir. All right, so that is the pool details. So the next tab over, we will take a look at the loan details. So if we can go ahead and click on the loans tab. And here we can see the loan that is associated with the pool. Should this be an LS or RX pool that may have the potential to have multiple loans, each of those loans would be listed here. In this case, since it is a PN pool, there's only one loan associated, so we can go ahead and click on this loan, and it will take us to the loan details page. As I mentioned previously, that blue bar is still at the top with all of the same information, so it carries over from screen to screen so that you always have that information at your fingertips. Moving down, it looks pretty similar to the previous page where we have it broken out into subsections. So we can start with the general information tab, or subsection, excuse me. We have the issuer loan number, the mortgage type, the mortgage interest rate, and then we have a section for balloon payments. Once again, this is a radio button where you can enter information if this is applicable to your particular pool, including the base term in years and months, as well as your confirmation that this is a balloon, does not conform to the amortization schedule, and finally, the approximate balloon payment amount. Moving down to the left, we have the mortgage amounts, including the original principal balance, the unpaid balance, and the principal and interest for this particular loan. The section to the right includes the term of mortgages, including the years and months broken out for this particular loan. Yes, this is different from GinnieMae. We do allow for the separate entry of years and months up to their limits. So if you do have the need to break it out, you have the ability to do so here. And finally, on the right, you have the pay dates, including the first pay date and the last pay date. Moving down to the left again, we have the mortgage note dates, including the loan origination, initial endorsement date, and final endorsement date. To the right, we have the prepayment provisions, if there are any prepayment provisions. Once again, radio box with the yes/no selection, as well as the indicators to the right, the min, as well as the mom. Mom is automatically selected as no. If you want to enter a mom, you can select yes, and you can enter the appropriate information. Continuing on to the right, we do have the agency details. So this will include the FHA or USDA case number, the section of the act associated with this particular pool, the loan type code, as well as the potential development cost. Okay. Moving down, we do see the ratios, including the debt service coverage ratio and the loan to value ratio, should they apply to your pool. Below that, we have the annex special disclosures broken out into an identifier field as well as a description. And next to that, we have the non-level payment provisions, once again, broken out into the identifier and description. I will touch upon this more as some of you probably have questions regarding the split between identifier and description. I will touch upon these whenever we come to the data entry portion of the presentation. Just below that, we can see that there is an option for a non-level payment schedule. Should there be one, there would be a checkbox with that particular information shown. And finally, on the bottom, we come to the mortgager information, including the name of the mortgager, their property site address, the city, state, and zip code. So yet again, I'm going to take a break. That covers the loan details page. I will take another break and see if we have any questions. Please feel free to ask in the chat, Q&A, or raise your hand if you would like to ask a question directly. Okay. No questions, so hopefully I'm getting all the questions answered as I'm going through everything. Please, by all means, if you have any questions about items, please do not hesitate to reach out. As I don't see any questions coming in, we will go ahead onto the data entry portion. So Tauhid will navigate us back once again to the pools and loans screen, where we can see all of the pools. And as he had pointed out previously, there is an Add Pools button at the top right-hand corner. And for the majority of folks here, we will be doing, majority of the folks for multifamily will be doing a manual entry. However, as Tauhid pointed out, there is the ability to import or export the files from the right-hand side there. But for our situation right now, we will go ahead and enter manually. So here we can see the familiar screen details. Some of the information in, oh, okay. So there was a question that I can answer directly from here from an anonymous attendee. Do we enter this information on these screens, or does it carry over from the data entry? We will get to that right now. So this is everything you enter on the data entry. We were showing an existing pool that was already in the system, just as a reference. So here we will go ahead and enter all the data and show you what it looks like once we are done. Thank you for that question. Okay, so with Tauhid in command of the keyboard and the screen, we will go ahead and fill out our header information first. As a reminder, as I mentioned previously, the items with a asterisk next to them are the required fields for entry. So Tauhid, go ahead and type the pool number here. One item that I'd like to point out, so from a MFPDM perspective, yes, thank you, Tauhid. You know what I was going for. So we have multiple different ways to identify whether the information in the screen is valid or not. For something such as the pool number, as soon as you type in the pool number, it will automatically validate that it is, in fact, a valid pool number and that it is assigned to your issuer number. If it is not, or if it's already been used, it will be indicated below as the field level message is shown here, and giving you the option to correct the information to enter a valid pool number and continue on. This is similar functionality that we have to several of the other fields on the screen. So we may see more examples of that as we move on. The next field is the issue date. As there are only 2 dates available for this selection, we will see the 2 applicable values, including 6/1 and 7/1 as its current month, and current month plus 1 for those options. As we can just want to point out real quick, with the issue date selected, sorry, Tauhid, I'm throwing you a curveball here. As the issue date was selected, we will see some of the dates and some of the other fields be populated with information depending on selections. So in this case, if anybody noticed, the initial pay date under the general information, as well as the unpaid balance date, are also pre-populated based on previous selections. All right, we'll go back up to pool type. So the issue type is always going to be your multifamily. So if we select pool type, here we can see the list of the different pools that we have available. Everything is spelled out, should make it for any new users or existing users, should make it very nice and easy to select the appropriate pool type. Go ahead and select Tawhid. And yet again, information being populated up in the header section as well. So that information is being populated. Yeah, thanks. So we'll move on to the submission type. With the multiple different submission types based on the pool type selected, the submission type field will narrow down the selection to only allow for the appropriate values here. So in this case, we are going to select an 04, which is the initial project. And we can continue down to the general information section, enter the pool ID, pool tax ID, excuse me. And as I pointed out previously, the initial pay date is entered. System generated, excuse me. The delivery date, there are multiple options for entering dates in MFPDM. One is you can see Tawhid is typing right now. You can just enter the date manually like that. There is also a drop-down calendar, as Tawhid is also showing, with showing the applicable dates. The calendars are limited to the available dates or the applicable dates for this particular pool. So you are always choosing a correct value. The unpaid balance date has been filled out for us. And as I mentioned, going through the previous screens, the concurrent date is preset. Continuing down, we will enter our security interest rate. And the mortgage interest rate servicing fees will be calculated and entered based on the loan details. We can go ahead and select the maturity date. This is a good example of a calendar that limits the selection. So if you want to select it from the calendar, we can see that the 15th is the only available option for a date. And so he's going to manually enter, which is fantastic. Yep, thanks, David. And we'll continue down to the master agreement section. Based on what is listed in your maintenance section, and you have your agreements and MAMs, the applicable custodians will show in the drop-down menu here. So we'll go ahead and select our value. And then the next section over is our subservicer number and name. Should you want to list one, you would have the same option there to enter from the drop-down. Here's our transfer at issuance. If this is a tie pool, you would go ahead and select yes. Just show them what it looks like real quick. Looking for the issuer number and name, and that would bring you your applicable list of issuers that this could be transferred to. For our scenario, we are not going to do a tie pool, so we'll go ahead and select no, and that additional screen will move away. The one thing that I want to point out from there is that for multifamily pool delivery module, we tried to limit the amount of data on the screen. So some of you might recognize that some fields are missing or not shown immediately. Based on previously entered data, some certain fields are either shown or not shown depending on that. So all the information that pertains to your particular pool will be available on the screen whenever you go to select it. Finally, we have our principal and interest account. We have this broken out by the ABA, federal routing number, as well as the account number. One of the items that we had seen in GinnieNet was that there are a vast number of both P&I accounts as well as some of the escrow accounts. So we broke this out based on the selection of the ABA number. Should you have multiple account numbers associated with that particular ABA number, you have the ability to first select the ABA number and then select the account number associated. Once again, the account number will be filtered based on the ABA selection, should there be multiple there. Okay, moving down to the escrow accounts, go ahead and click the add button. And here we can see that we have one available to enter or select, excuse me. And once again, it is filtered down based on the ABA federal routing number. So here we just have one account number associated with that routing number. Continuing on, for the subscriber, it will look similar to the above escrow. So we'll go ahead and click add, and we can see that we have the option to select an existing subscriber or the option to enter a new one. Should you not have entered a subscriber in your maintenance section, you do have the ability to add one directly from this screen. So for instance, if you forgot to select one or if you forgot to enter one in your maintenance section and you come to enter a pool, you don't have to back out, lose all of your information that you put in. You can simply click add new. You can enter in the information here, and there's actually a checkbox that says, do you want to save this for future use, yes or no? So if this is a one-off item, you can do that. Yeah, so you can enter your information, save the maintenance, and it will appear the next time you go to create a pool. Okay, go ahead and do that. We're going to select one of the existing ones. The description field is something that's new. It is an optional field. If you want to provide additional detail here associated with this particular subscriber, you have the ability to do so. And finally, on the right-hand side, we do have the position. So Tawhid will go ahead and enter the position for this particular pool. Fantastic. If you do have multiple subscribers, all you would do is go ahead and click that add button yet again. Select the same information should you want to, as well as the position, and the total would update accordingly based on the sum of the values. Okay. Moving down, we do have the certification and agreements form. This is the radio buttons. Same information coming from GinnieMae, but now it is presented here in a radio button form. So if we go ahead and select the top radio button, we can see that there is an additional question that arises. It has the form HUD 11711A been forwarded to the document custodian, yes or no? So you would select one of those options, whichever applies to your particular pool. Should you select the no option from below, then there are no additional questions. Fantastic. And as we have not entered any of the loan details yet, the pool statistics remain empty. So with that, we can scroll back up to the top. Well, yeah, thank you, Tawhid. I'll point that out right now. So as you can notice, as Tawhid is scrolling up and down the screen, Tawhid, can you scroll down to the bottom again, please? So as we can see, that blue bar collapses as we are scrolling